The accredited certificate download, Dan sat at his tidy desk in a glass-walled office overlooking Bristol's harbourside. His computer screen glowed with a dozen open tabs, LinkedIn job listings, HR blogs, and an email from his manager. Dan, remember to send in your updated CIPD certification by end of month if you're still interested in promotion. His chest tightened. Promotion. It sounded exciting, but it also felt urgent, like a ticking clock. He'd worked 3 years in HR, streamlined onboarding processes, and trained 5 new hires. He loved his job, but he also craved growth and the pay raise that came with the next rung on the ladder. He took a sip of tepid coffee and opened a fresh tab. He typed deliberately, "Best accredited certificate download." Suggestions popped up immediately. Instant, cheap, no study required. One result caught his eye, a sleek website proclaiming, "Your official CIPD certificate download in minutes," complete with logos, badges, and glowing testimonials from HR professionals just like you. The page's design was polished, navy header, gold accents, and a large red button labeled "Get Certified Now" for $49. Dan scrolled. A quality guarantee badge claimed approval by an independent accrediting body. No name given. Fake-looking profile pictures with captions like, "Mike, HR Manager London, praised the site's speed and affordability." The site even offered a free sample certificate download link, except clicking it downloaded a file named samplecertificate.exe. Dan paused. An exe? He shrugged. He was supposed to want a PDF. Maybe the certificate installer would unlock the PDF. His rational mind raised questions. Is this too easy? £49 for a qualification recognized by my boss? But his gut argued back. Not if it saves you months of study and it's reviewed by hundreds of HR pros. He glanced at the clock. 3 p.m, his evening commute awaited, and then another hour of training modules. He didn't have time for lengthy courses. He hovered over the red button. His finger trembled just slightly. Was that excitement or doubt? He clicked, "Get Certified Now," and a payment form appeared. He entered his card details, auto-filled his home address, and hit pay. A confirmation screen blinked in seconds. "Thank you, Dan. Your accredited CIPD certificate will be available in your downloads folder momentarily." He exhaled, leaned back in his ergonomic chair, and whispered, "That was easy." But as the office lights dimmed and co-workers packed up, a small voice in the back of his head wondered, why was it really that easy? Dan stared at the glowing payment confirmation on his screen. A polite thank you message popped up, followed by a blinking download button labeled, "Your certificate. Click to access." He clicked it without hesitation. A file appeared in his downloads folder, Accredited Certificate 2025.exe. Dan paused. Why an exe file? I thought it'd be a PDF. But the site had looked so official. At the top, there was a quality assurance badge in bold navy and gold. A red ribbon icon said, ISO verified vendor. He didn't know what that meant exactly, but it sounded important. Underneath that were rows of glowing testimonials. One read, "Got my CIPD certificate in 7 minutes, flat no hassle, no nonsense." Another, "Presented this at my job interview, landed the role next day." The faces attached to the reviews all looked a bit too perfect, like the kind you'd see on stock photo websites. But Dan brushed the thought aside. His mind flashed to the actual CIPD courses he had considered. 1, 200 over 6 months, with written assignments and weekend webinars. And now, this option, £49, same-day delivery, minimal effort. It's smart, not sketchy, he reassured himself. Why pay more when you don't have to? He hovered his cursor over the exe file. That small thread of doubt tugged at him again. But the logic of a tired brain won out. It's a certificate, not rocket science. They probably use software to generate your name into the template. He clicked. The screen flickered. Nothing opened. No PDF, no preview, just a brief loading bar, and then silence. A chill ran down Dan's spine. He opened his downloads again. The file was gone. And now, so was his desktop wallpaper. He swallowed. What did I just install? Dan sat frozen in his chair. The screen flickered, then settled into an eerie stillness. No certificate opened. No file appeared. Just a brief flash of a loading bar and then nothing. He stared at the folder. The .exe file he'd clicked was gone. Then came the noise. A loud chime blared, and a red warning banner filled his screen. Threat detected. Trojan downloader. Win32, generic. His antivirus had snapped awake. High severity threat quarantined, it read. Dan's stomach dropped. What the hell is a Trojan downloader? He frantically clicked for more info. This file may allow remote access to your device, including files, webcam, and browser data. Heart pounding, he shut his laptop, but the fan was whirring unusually loud. It hadn't stopped even after closing everything. Okay, he muttered. Breathe. He turned it back on and disconnected the Wi-Fi immediately, then checked his files. Everything looked the salmon thing obviously missing. He opened his browser history. New tabs had opened in the background. Strange URLs with names like PDF access, .co.uk, verify, auth admin login. Dan's hands were sweating. What did I let in? His phone buzzed. It was a fraud alert from his bank. Unusual activity. 112.42 at a tech store in Berlin. Then another. 398 at an online electronics retailer. He froze. No. He rushed to open his banking app and locked the card. Then, he called the fraud helpline. As he waited on hold, Dan felt the stupidity of it all hit him like a wave. He hadn't checked if the site was on the official CIPD partner list. He hadn't looked for reviews outside the site. He'd been in such a rush to get ahead, he didn't pause to think. He'd bought malware disguised as ambition. And now, his bank, his laptop, maybe even his job security was in question. Dan stared at the antivirus pop-up. Threat detected, suspicious file blocked. He sighed, clicked dismiss, and muttered, probably a false positive. He had tight deadlines and 3 onboarding reports to finish. He didn't have time to worry about something that wasn't really broken. He rebooted the machine and made himself a coffee. When he returned, his laptop took longer than usual to load. The taskbar flickered. Word documents took twice as long to open. One Excel file he used every day now froze after a few clicks. Still, he didn't panic. Just a weird update, he said out loud, convincing himself. He ignored the slowness, the random error beeps, even the new icon on his desktop, something called Cert Protect X. He didn't remember installing it, but he figured maybe it came with the download. At 3 p.m., his screen glitched for a moment, just a flicker and then settled again. Dan blinked at it. Odd. But he kept working. Emails needed replies. HR queries kept piling up. A Zoom call started in 10 minutes. So he told himself the most convenient lie: if it was serious, the whole system would crash. The warnings faded into background noise. He didn't know, at that moment, that his credentials had already been skimmed, or that a script was silently watching every keystroke. He just kept typing. That evening, Dan sat on the couch with his laptop open and a lukewarm mug of coffee beside him. He checked his bank app out of habit, half watching a late-night football recap. Then he saw either 3 identical charges of £1.29, each from a merchant he didn't recognize. Secure Verify Pro, Wintools Helper, DataSafe Scan. Huh, he muttered. Weird. He tried to click for more details, but his banking app froze. At the same time, a pop-up bloomed on his laptop screen. System update required. Your device is at risk. A second followed immediately. We detected malware on your PC. Download our premium antivirus now. Dan stared at the screen, eyes narrowing. Wait a second. Another banner slid across the taskbar. Warning, hackers can see your files. It all happened so fast, yet so smoothly. He tried to close the windows. They reappeared. Then a full-screen prompt took over. Activate protection to remove threats with a countdown timer. His heart began to pound. No way. He clicked Task Manager, but it wouldn't open. The system dragged like it was stuck in glue. His cursor jumped. Every window seemed hijacked. He reached for his phone to Google the charge names, but now his browser was redirecting to strange search engines again. Dan finally connected the dots. The certificate site. The exe file. The sluggish performance. The odd email earlier. He'd installed malware, maybe spyware. And now, it was spreading. His stomach dropped. I've been scammed, he whispered. But it wasn't a big bang. It was a slow bleed, small charges, fake security warnings, the quiet theft of control over his own machine. And now, he didn't just feel embarrassed. He felt exposed. Dan sat at his desk, uneasy. His laptop lagged. More pop-ups appeared, some in languages he didn't recognize. The strange Cert Protect X app kept reappearing, no matter how many times he tried to delete it. Finally, he typed into Google .exe certificate scam. Within seconds, Dozens of forum posts and cybersecurity blogs appeared. The headlines were clear: fake certificate PDF download loads malware. Scammers use exe files to hijack systems, steal data. His stomach dropped. He clicked one post. A user described the same scenario, downloaded a certificate, double-clicked an exe file, ignored a warning, and then lost control of their PC. They mentioned bank fraud, locked files, even identity theft. Dan's hands trembled as he opened Task Manager. He didn't recognize half the running processes. One was using up 80% of his CPU, labeled only SysWatch. Another, NetRelay, showed a dozen open network connections. His heart sank. "This isn't just slow software," he whispered. His machine wasn't just sluggish, it was infected. Watching, possibly sending his data to someone else. The quick win had just turned into a costly, dangerous mistake. Dan quickly uninstalls the suspicious exe and runs a deep antivirus scan. His screen floods with warnings, hundreds of infected files. He changes his online banking passwords, freezes his card, and contacts his bank to reverse the odd charges. Then, with a sinking feeling, he emails IT at work. There might have been a breach, he admits. That night, instead of prepping for his promotion, he spends hours disinfecting his laptop and restoring lost files. Sitting in his dim kitchen, Dan opens his journal. "I chased an easy win. All I got was a virus and 3 days of panic." He posts on LinkedIn, "If a certificate downloads instantly as an X run." Moral: a legit certificate takes effort. Scams promise shortcuts that cost more than they claim. Follow for real-world scam spotting tales. Subscribe to learn how simple checks can save you from complex headaches.